Hello everybody, this is GeneralJannis, and today in Chaos Tactics I'm taking a deep dive into the Chaos Knight Desecrator, the very nice evil looking abhorrent class model, and I feel that he's saying kneel here to the opponent's vehicles and monsters. So with no further ado, let's get started. So today, the 27th of June, I'm continuing to look into Chaos Knights. Now, looking at the Desecrator, I've been quickly calculating the War Dogs as anti-vehicle platforms that you can add as Dreadblades, but now also need to focus a little bit on these big knights. So looking at the Desecrator's datasheet, his weapons damage output, the abilities and the combos he can have in Chaos Knights list, and then what does he get if he's a Dreadblade, and then the point corrected the damage output, comparing him also to some other large models like Mortarion and the Despoiler, and then also looking at his durability. So looking at the Knight Desecrator datasheet, he has the Abhorrent class profile, so he's toughness 12, he has plenty wounds, 22 wounds, he has a 3+ saving profile, and he's 390 points with a 10-inch move and objective control 10. So this is basically the same for the other abhorrent class Chaos Knights. He has in the ranged weapon department, he has the Desecrator Laser Destructor. This has been quite improved since 9th edition. Now it already has 3 attacks, like the Diamona's relic. He's hitting on 2s, and it has a hefty strength 18, AP -4, and then the damage d6 +3. And then his ability, the Obsessive Ruthlessness, synergizes well with the Desecrator Laser Destructor. Each time he makes a range attack against the monster or vehicle unit, then he gets devastating wounds versus those targets. So 6 to wound here would be quite nice, not allowing the enemy vehicles any save. And AP -4 already will be taking quite a lot of the vehicles to the non-saving territory. For the melee weapons, you have a choice of the Reaper Chainsword or the Warp Strike Claw. I will show you on the next page. Basically, the Warp Strike Claw is the correct choice for the Desecrator. If you want, of course, to focus more on the heavy anti-vehicle and monster targets, and also with a Strength 20. With a Claw Strength 20, if you use the Tank Shock stratagem, after you have charged, you will be rolling 20 dice. The strength 20 will, of course, be higher than your opponent's toughness. You will be rolling 22 dice, 5s and 6s are mortal wounds, so you'll be maxing out the 6 mortal wounds with a fair probability to do so. And then his aura is also good for Chaos Knights, the Taskmaster, so War Dogs within 9 inches of the Desecrator will be rerolling once to hit for ranged attacks. This is a nice combination with already very good Brigands and War Dog Executioners, or the Stalkers or the Huntsmen. This will be giving 17% damage output to those models staying close to the Desecrator. And here, as promised, the Desecrator's weapons damage output. Again, always the numbers here. The comma is the decimal point. So you can see here the Desecrator Laser Destructor with the 3 attacks, strength 8, AP -4, damage d6 +3. You will be doing 13 wounds on average on a Rhino, 11 wounds on the Gladiators Repulsors, 7 wounds for other Imperial Knights. They are a bit more safe. They have the Invols, they have also the Feel No Pains, but still there is some more damage here to get. The Diabolus Heavy Stabber, he can do 3 attacks at 36 inches, 6 attacks within 18 inches. Here I just took the 3 attacks. Of course, you can't expect a lot from the Heavy Stabber. You can do a little bit on infantry, taking them down, let's say, to below starting strength, and as Chaos Knights you can be forcing maybe some battle shock tests, but of course it's not the Heavy Stabber that will do the heavy damage. And then we're comparing the Reaper Chainsword with a strike and the sweep profile, and the Warp Strike Claw again with a strike and sweep profile. And here we can see for everything, the heavy targets, the vehicles and monsters, etc., then the Warp Strike Claw is the best option. With the strike ability, you can be doing 15 wounds to a Rhino or a Gladiator from Repulsor, and You can take out an Armiger, you can be doing 10 wounds on a Canis Rex here. So some good damage overall. If you want to do more damage for elite infantry, then the Warp Strike Claw with the sweep attack is the best one. And only if you want to do damage versus some infantry, marine equivalents, and so on, you would be using the 12 attack Reaper Chainsword sweep attack. But again, then you with the Reaper Chainsword you get much less damage output versus vehicles, so probably better to just take the Warp Strike Claw. So the abilities for and the combos for the Desecrator for Chaos Knight's army, of course, it will benefit from the army ability of the Doom and Darkness from the turn 3. This means that he will be +1 to wound versus the battle shocked enemies, -1 to be hit from battle shocked enemies, improving their durability. But of course, you need to force some battle shock tests here, and I'm sure that a lot of people will have some rerolls or try to avoid being battle shocked. There are also some good enhancements that you can apply, for example, for these big models like the Desecrator. The Panoply is a good defensive buff. You are ignoring one from the armor penetration characteristic, the AP of the enemy attacking it. So basically, it's giving your knight armor of contempt. So then you will need AP -3 or higher from ranged weapons to go to the invuln save. And this armor of contempt will also help in melee where the knight doesn't have the invul save. The Traitor's Mark, you can gain the Doom and Darkness already from round 1, and Lord of the Dread, you can select a unit in engagement to take a battle shock. The Desecrator probably will see some melee, so could be an option here, but I guess the Panoply here would be the best in giving some more durability to the Chaos Knight. And then, as far as stratagems are concerned, you can give him a 6+ Feel No Pain in the fight phase for 1 command point, improving a little bit the durability here. The Knights of Shade allow you to move or charge through terrain and enemy. That can be quite helpful also for his claw to come into close combat with bypassing some enemy units and charging something. That could be quite interesting as well. And then with a Diabolic Bulwark, you can give 4+ invul in the shooting phase for 1 command point, further increasing the durability of the Desecrator. And then, if you want to use the Knight Desecrator as a Dreadblade, in the Chaos Knight's index you have the Dreadblade ability. So if your army faction is Chaos and you only have Chaos models, you can include 1 Titanic Chaos Knight, for example, Desecrator, or up to 3 War Dogs in your army. There's no point restrictions here. But they cannot be your warlord, they cannot be given enhancements, and you are not gaining all these army abilities of the Chaos Knights, but you get access to a nice data sheet here. And this is so, for example, Thousand Suns could be adding him, or World Eaters, or all the Chaos Space Marines. Even Chaos Demons could take a Knight Desecrator here. But as I said, you cannot take enhancements. He cannot be the warlord. You cannot benefit from stratagems or the Chaos Knight's army rules. For those, if you read the index, you need all your army to have, for example, the Chaos Knight as a faction. And then there is no synergy with War Dogs if you had a Dreadblade, because there will be no War Dogs here. But you are adding a potent unit for shooting heavy targets and melee damage, and you will be putting a scary model on your roster. So in this a rather large table, I'm looking at the damage output now point corrected to 100 points with no additional external buffs considered here. And on the top line, you have I calculated some of the big models. We have the Desecrator, Mortarion, and the Despoiler with 3 different shooting configurations. And then I have the previous table I showed you in the vehicles and War Dogs analysis, where I have the Death Card vehicles here. And quite a few of the War Dogs. And we can see, for example, the Desecrator, of course, as we saw, at 24-inch range, better versus vehicles and monsters than infantry. His weapons are not infantry type. And then he can also do quite well in melee, 2.8 wounds on average per 100 points. So that's around 10 wounds versus vehicles and monsters in melee, because he's almost 400 points here. So a nice combo of being able to shoot at short range and then charge and take some big targets out. If you compare to, for example, to more Tyrant's damage output, he doesn't have any shooting at 24 inch. He has a little bit of shooting at 12-inch range, and he's not as good in melee as the Desecrator here. So a bit of a pity for the Primarch. And then we have 3 shooting options for the Despoiler, 2 times thermal cannon, Gatling cannon, and the battle cannon. And we see the Gatling cannon can do is very good versus infantry, almost as good per point as the Predator Destructor. Here at range. If we take the thermal cannon, when we are at 12-inch range, this is really strong against vehicles, as you can see. But in this configuration, where you take 2 shooting options, you don't have any melee capabilities from this Despoiler. But maybe a nice combination for Chaos Knights to have a Desecrator that can do anti-vehicle damage in both melee and shooting, and then maybe keeping a Despoiler further back to add a lot of shooting versus either infantry and or vehicles here. The battle cannon, with plenty of shots, you can do some damage versus vehicles, but also infantry here. So yeah, but again, the Despoiler doesn't have any melee capabilities in this configuration. Finally, looking at the durability for some of these big models, point corrected, and the table is now showing a lot of heavy weaponry typically, and then how many of those weapons, for example, how many Despoiler Gatling cannons would it take to take out 400 points of these different units here. And I'm using the abhorrent class here, the Desecrator, for 390 points. That's the baseline. So you can see, for example, for plasma guns or something like this, to lose 400 points, you will use quite a lot of plasma guns to kill the Desecrator. If we add the panoply, basically giving him armor or contempt, he will be costing 430 points, but we are improving his durability quite a lot. You can see at the bottom the average number of attacks from the various or weapons needed to take him out. And then if we give him the 4+ invul versus shooting, it doesn't help the melee weapons, but it gives him more protection versus a shooting weapon. If we are comparing to an Imperial Knight like the Canis Rex, then the Imperial Knight is more durable. He has the 6+ feel no pain that can become 5+ feel no pain, so that's a bit strong here. And here is the category where Mortarnion finally shines. He has the 2+ save, 4+ invulnerable, and 5+ feel no pain. This makes him much more durable than the big knights, and especially in melee where they don't have, in general, the invul save. So, reaching the summary and final thoughts, I think the Chaos Knight Desecrator is a very strong option for Chaos Knights, anti-vehicle platform for both shooting and the melee. He has a good fit in the Chaos Knight army to further buff the damage of the shooting war dogs, especially, for example, the Brigand. Hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s close to the Desecrator will be helping you maximize the damage output of the other war dogs. As a Dreadblade, being able to be taken, for example, for Death Guard or Thousand Suns or something like this, he could be filling some gaps for some of the other indexes that are quite good versus infantry, but not so much against vehicles and monsters. And of course, seeing also when I did this math, I need to analyze the Despoiler in more detail. The Despoiler also has some nice options and configurations, but I think in my collection, I think if I will make my first Chaos Knight list for 10th, I'll probably use the Desecrator and the Despoiler, and then eight small war dogs. I think that would be a quite nice list. So let me know, this concludes the video. Let me know what you think about the Desecrator. If you have used him in the 10th edition, let me know. Also as Dreadblade, or if you play Chaos Knights, I would be very happy to hear from you. If you want to, you can join the Discord channel and take part on the communications discussion there. There is sections for Death Guard, and there are sections, for example, for the other factions. If you want to discuss more Chaos Knights, there is a Chaos Knights section. If you want to further support my efforts, please visit my Patreon page, or you become a YouTube member and get a GeneralJannis icon next to your comments. So with these words, GeneralJannis is signing out. Stay safe out there, and bye-bye.